After tyrannical emperors take over his home and rule Rome, Lucius is compelled to enter the Colosseum. He must reflect on his past to gather the strength needed to restore Rome's glory to its people. Get ready to relive the adventure as we recap the story of action and drama film today. Gladiator 2, production year 2024. 16 years after Marcus Aurelius passed away, Rome has been under the control of the corrupt twin emperors, Geta and Caracalla. The vision he had for Rome has crumbled, and it looks like the city is headed for disaster too. Numidia, 200 AD, a young man named Lucius Verus Aurelius, who lives as Hanno, cultivates his fields with his wife Arishat. They see smoke and flames from the nearby gates, signaling a summons to fight. They gear up and stand with their comrades to confront General Acacius and his Roman forces. Lucius and Arishat put up a strong resistance, but Acacius notices Arishat shooting her bow, and he orders his soldiers to eliminate her. She is mortally struck by an arrow and plunges into the sea, while Lucius is also knocked into the water. He is caught between life and death, observing Arishat accompany the ferryman into the afterworld as he is drawn back to living. Lucius is held in bondage with the remaining soldiers and civilians as the city falls. Acacius comes back to Ostia and is honored by Geta and Caracalla. Geta informs Acacius that they aim to conquer Persia and India next, whereas Acacius thinks their attention should be on the people of Rome. Geta prevents Acacius from spending time with his wife and arranges with Caracalla for gladiator contests at the Colosseum. Lucius and the other slaves are taken to Antium in an arena supervised by a stablemaster named Macrinus. The captives are compelled to fight against wild baboons. The Numidian leader, Jugurtha, who arrived with Lucius, opts for death in the arena and allows a baboon to rip into his neck. Lucius battles a baboon and sinks his teeth into its arm before using his shackles to strangle it to death. Macrinus swiftly observes and subsequently matches Lucius in close combat against gladiator instructor Vigo, further captivating Macrinus with his combat abilities. Macrinus observes the anger that Lucius endures, while Lucius reveals that he intends to eliminate Acacius. Macrinus assures that he can achieve this if he exerts enough effort in Rome. Acacius goes back to his spouse, the newly married Lucilla. He conveys his revulsion upon witnessing the multitude of soldiers being sacrificed for the twin emperor's pursuit of conquests. They collaborate to organize a revolt with their partners, including Gracchus. Macrinus takes Lucius to a celebration in the city hosted by Senator Thrax. Before the emperors and other Senate members, Lucius is matched against another combatant for their amusement. He attempts to halt the other man but is compelled to engage in battle and ultimately impale him. Geta walks up to Lucius and poses a question, but Lucius merely replies by citing Virgil. The gates of hell are open night and day, smooth the descent and easy the way. Yet to come back and see the joyful skies, in this the effort and great toil resides. The gladiator games begin as Lucius and others are led into the Colosseum. Lucius sifts the soil in the arena through his fingers, similar to how the deceased fighter Maximus used to. This prompts Lucilla to pay attention and identify Lucius. He and other gladiators face the unbeaten champion Glycio. He kills the other men while mounted on his pet rhino until only Lucius remains to battle. They engage in a fierce battle until Lucius is brought down, and Geta offers Glycio the opportunity to save Lucius. Rejecting this, Lucius persists in the battle until he spears Glacio, after which he receives the thumbs down gesture to behead Glyceo. After the fight, Lucilla retreats to her personal chambers and recalls the quote from Virgil, then thinks back to sending Lucius away into exile as a child for his protection. With tears in her eyes, she comes to understand that her son is back, and Macrinus begins to piece everything together. Lucius encounters and forms a friendship with the gladiator physician Ravi, while Ravi cares for Lucius's injuries. Later, Gracchus takes Lucilla to see Lucius so she can reveal to him his real lineage, that he is the offspring of Maximus. Lucius is uninterested in hearing it and furiously commands Lucilla to exit his cell because she sent him away from home, and Acacius is to blame for Arichat's demise. She then approaches Acacius and requests his assistance for Lucius. Lucius undergoes training and subsequently participates with the other gladiators in a naval combat. He guides them to triumph by directing them to break the opposing ship's oars and then colliding with it head-on. He aims his crossbow at Acacius, but it instead flies directly between Geta and Caracalla, which they consider a personal attack. Macrinus visits Thraex's residence to evict him because he is heavily in debt. To compensate for it, Thraex reveals the scheme to topple the emperors since he was formerly involved in it. Macrinus gathers this data and continues to expel Thraex. Acacius and Lucilla are presented to Geta and Caracalla to reveal their betrayal. Geta states that they will be overlooked prior to being incarcerated. Macrinus persuades Geta to include Acacius in the games as a form of punishment. Lucius bonds with Ravi further and discovers that he was once a slave who gained his freedom by competing in the games. Ravi takes Lucius to the gladiator's shrine, where a wall displays Maximus's name crossed out, yet his armor and sword remain privately displayed, accompanied by his quote, "What we do in this life echoes in eternity." Acacius is compelled to battle the soldiers of the Praetorian Guard. He kills them all before he has to battle Lucius. They fight until Lucius has Acacius completely at his mercy. Lucius subsequently declines to carry out the execution of Acacius after hearing him express his love for his mother and his willingness to die for his father. Geta commands the Praetorian Guard to carry out the execution of Acacius by shooting multiple arrows at him. Lucius subsequently criticizes their behavior, informing the audience that if this is the treatment heroes receive in Rome, they should anticipate even harsher treatment. Lucius departs while they call out his name, or more specifically, Hanno. Macrinus goes to Lucius in his cell to probe his choice to save Acacius. Lucius envisions a more just approach to governing Rome, while Macrinus contests this idea. He subsequently goes to see the emperors while the crowds start to revolt in the streets. After Geta mocks Caracalla regarding their differing opinions on the issue, Macrinus speaks to Caracalla privately, aware that he believes he must constantly share everything with Geta and lacks personal space. Macrinus persuades Caracalla to face his brother armed with a dagger. Geta attempts to reason with Caracalla, but Macrinus directs his hand to cut Geta's throat before beheading him. Lucilla returns to see Lucius once more to present him with the ring that was his grandfather's. They make amends, and Lucius embraces his mother for the first time in a long while. Lucius subsequently hands the ring to Ravi for delivery to a general in Ostia so that his troops can assist them. Caracalla ascends to the throne, and his initial action is to name his pet monkey Dandus as consul, while placing Macrinus in a more powerful role. Macrinus shows Gedda's severed head to the shocked senators after Caracalla departs, explaining why he needs to acquire additional power, compelling them to elect him as the leader of the Praetorian Guard. Macrinus subsequently visits Lucilla's chamber to discuss how her grandfather had him made a slave, as well as his intention to eliminate the imperial lineage by assuming the role of emperor himself. Macrinus sends Caracalla, Lucilla, and the other plotters to the Colosseum, leaving only Lucius to protect her. The strategy involves inciting a riot among the crowd if Lucilla is indeed murdered, creating a chance to eliminate Caracalla and take the throne. Upon discovering that he needs to protect his mother, Lucius escapes his cell and murders Vigo before the other slaves escape and rebel. Lucius then goes to take his father's armor and sword before leading the other men to take back their freedom. The gladiators confront the Praetorian soldiers in the arena, leading to a full-on riot as spectators become hit with arrows and start to fight back. Gracchus is also slain during the fight. In the chaos, Macrinus takes advantage of the moment to thrust a thin bodkin into Caracalla's ear to assassinate him, and then shoot an arrow into Lucilla's chest before Lucius can reach her. Macrinus then mounts a horse to join the Praetorian Guard in confronting the approaching army at the gates. Lucius pursues Macrinus and traps him just as the two armies meet. Lucius then gallops on his horse towards Macrinus, resulting in their ultimate showdown. Macrinus almost overwhelms Lucius, but recalling his mother's advice, he turns the tables. He severs Macrinus' left arm before delivering a fatal slash. Lucius then speaks to both armies and persuades them to stop fighting without purpose. They put their swords away and chant in agreement. In the evening, Lucius enters the arena alone. He kneels in the sand and talks to Maximus while grieving for his parents. And showing this story ends here. Appreciate a subscribe, and please remember to like. Thanks for watching.